Hi guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to interpret and evaluate numerical expressions using that scaling and fraction division. So remember, scaling is basically what we're going to do to make it smaller because we're scaling something down. This is something you guys have seen before because they're numerical expressions and we've done this. So this is more of a review, but it's involving fractions, okay? So the first one, it says circle the expression that's equivalent to the sum of 3 and 2 divided by 1/3. Okay, so when I think about it, I'm going to take 3 and 2, so the sum of 3 and 2, and I'm going to divide it by 1/3. So if I look here, if I've got 3 plus 2 divided by 3, is that going to be 3 plus 2 divided by 1/3? Okay. So kind of looking at each of these, which one would it be? And there is only one of them. And if you kind of look at this, first of all, we've got the sum of 3 and 2. So I want to find ones that say the sum of 3 and 2 in parentheses. I know it's not going to be this one. We've got 3 and 2 here. We've got 3 and 2 here. We've got 3 and 2 here. But I want to divide it by 1/3. So is this divided by 1/3? No, this is divided by 3. Okay, is this divided by 1/3? Yeah, it is divided by 1/3. Is this divided by 1/3? No, because it's 1/3 divided by 5. So it's kind of backwards. So that one is not correct. This one is the only expression that is equivalent. This next one, it says circle the expression. So we know it's going to be more. So it says 28 divided by, so 28 divided by the difference between, so difference is subtraction, 4/5 and 7/10. So the first thing is I've got 28 divided by. So that means that 28 probably needs to be first. So when I look at this, that one is first. It's got 4/5 minus 7/10, so I know that one's correct. This one is 28 divided by 4/5 minus 7/10. So that one would work as well, even though it's written kind of a little weird. This one, I've got 4/5 minus 7/10 divided by 28. So that means I'm taking this and then I'm dividing it by 28, which is not correct because I want to divide it. I want to take 28 and divide it by that. Same thing here. I've got 28, but when I look at this, guys, this does not match up, 7/10 minus 4/5. Because if you think about it, when you do this to make an equivalent fraction, I've now got 7 minus 8, and that's something I can't do, so I'm going to cross that one off. These two are the only ones that match. The next one is I am going to go ahead and write the expression in the box, okay? It says half as much as the difference between, so half as much as the difference between. So I know I'm going to put these in parentheses, and this is going to be subtraction. So I'm going to write this like this, 2 1/4 minus 3/8. And what it says is half as much as the difference. So I am actually going to divide it by 2. Okay, so I'm not taking 2 divided by this, I'm taking the difference and I'm dividing it by 2. This one is the difference between these two numbers, so difference is subtraction, and I'm going to divide it by 4. Okay, so what I would do is I can write 2 1/4 minus 3/8, and I'm going to divide it by 4. Okay. A third of the sum of, so the sum of 7/8 and 22/10. So sum is going to tell me I'm adding, okay? 22/10 is going to be 2 2/10. Or what I would honestly do, I would probably just do 22/10 and write it that way, not this way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in parentheses, 7/8 plus 22/10. And it says a third of the sum. So I am going to take 1/3, and the word of means multiplying. So 1/3 of the sum of those two equations. The next one is add 2 2/10, which is the same thing. So I'm actually going to just put this as 22/10, and 7/8. So I'm going to add these two together. And then it says, then triple the sum. So I'm going to multiply it by 3 because I want to triple it. Okay. A lot of this, guys, is just reading what it is and putting it into that sentence to be able to solve it. Okay. Now, number 4, it says compare the expressions of 3a and 3b. So I'm going to look at these two equations right here. Without evaluating, which one is going to be greater? So when I look at this, we are both subtracting those. So we know that what's in the parentheses is going to be the same number. But one of them I'm going to divide it by 2, and one of them I'm going to divide it by 4. So which one is going to be greater? Okay, well, 3a is going to be greater. The reason why is because I'm taking this number and I'm only splitting it into 2. I'm splitting this number, so I'm taking the same number, but I'm splitting it into 4. So when you think about it, I'm not sure what the answer is because I'm not doing the math here, but I'm basically taking the answer, this answer, and splitting it into 2, but on letter B, I'm taking the answer and I'm splitting it into 4. So I'm going to have a smaller amount. So think about it. If it was $1, if I had $1 and I split it into 2, well, each of these would be 50 cents, and that would be 50 cents. Okay, so let's just put 50 cents, just pretending. Okay, but if I had to take that dollar and split it into 4 ways, that would be 25 cents. That means that one's going to be smaller because it's splitting it into 4.